Welcome to Hypnotic Authenticity. This is a place to reflect, a place to unwind perhaps, to understand yourself a little better, and to gently reshape the patterns that guide your life. A little bit like a conversation between you and your deeper self. So I'm offering a sprinkling of hypnosis, insight, some meditative guidance, and it's all going to be woven throughout a deep sense of practicality, so that if I do my job well, each episode is going to help you feel more grounded, also more open, and more authentically you. So if you're ready, let's begin.
Hello everybody, I'm going to talk today about anchors, about how you can actually use anchors to your benefit, in actual fact, to choose a way of feeling almost on demand. You might also find it useful in understanding how you are being influenced subliminally, and maybe even show you a few ways that you can actually use this as a form of influence with others. So let's start off by talking about what an anchor is, okay? Because NLP talks a lot about anchors, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, as if it were a thing, okay? As if it were something to be boxed in and put a ribbon around it and to learn and accentuate. And for me, that's a bit of blather, okay? So for me, what an anchor is something that we are naturally capable of doing all the time. It's a shortcut response of our being alive, okay? Our brain is constantly receiving information, okay? Data, stimuli from the world, 24/7. Most of which is just dispensed with as noise. Some of which, through reasons that are now at the back of your mind, are paid attention to and lead somewhere automatically. And then a few of those things actually bubble up to consciousness and you notice them, like you might read something on the monitor of a TV screen. Okay, so let's go back to first principles. What's going on with an anchor? We all know the idea of an anchor on a ship. So you throw the anchor off the ship and it tumbles to the seabed, and through that weight, it maintains the position of the boat. Okay, imagine that metaphorically as where the ship is a certain emotion or a certain mental state. The anchor magnetizes that emotional feeling or that mental state. We do this all day long without realizing it, okay? The most obvious, the simplest example that you can think of is brand advertising, okay? Logos. So you see a logo because of the habituated exposure to the brand through advertising, through your experience with that company. When you see the logo, it immediately, without you thinking about it, conjures up a certain emotional response. But the point is, these anchors exist in areas of our life that we're not even thinking about. Consider all of the times in your life that you have considered emotionally significant, for whatever reason, where something resulted, an event resulted in a learning experience. And I'm willing to bet that there is an anchor now created somewhere deep within you, so that if something similar occurs today, without being consciously aware of it, at some level inside of you, you are reminded of that earlier learning experience, and part of you is on alert or falling into that prior state. Okay? Every moment of every day, we are receiving information. We are a social animal. We are part of culture. Messages are being bombarded at us every moment of every day. Most of the time, we think we're flicking them away. Now, if we were really flicking them away, advertising wouldn't work, okay? the sheer fact that advertising works is anchors in action. Interestingly, some of the most efficient, most effective advertising campaigns are the ones with no message, okay? Where it's impossible to think and understand what the message is. Amazingly, some of the most effective advertising campaigns are the ones where you turn away, where you don't pay attention. So in your brain, okay, you've moved your attention away. So you think that there's nothing to defend against. There's no selling message to defend against, but it's still there at the corner of the room. Okay, you've gone out to make a drink, but you can still hear the TV in the background, or the internet advert has got in front of your YouTube video, and you think, well, it's going to go away in 20 seconds, so I'm just going to look away, okay? And I've got no interest in this advert whatsoever. So your mental guard goes down, but the message, because all messages, all stimuli are being received at a level in your brain, and then you come up, well, some part of you comes up with a perception based around that, and things that are habituated, they kind of get hardwired, you know? Neurons that fire together wire together. Anything that we habituate long enough is established and then compounded. So there's loads of examples of how anchors exist, okay? So how can you use this for your benefit? So people use NLP anchoring as a way to conjure up a state when they choose it, when they need it, okay? So let's consider a simple environment where maybe you already have some sort of an anchor in place, okay? So you're gonna give a speech on stage, on the podium. Maybe there are other people up on stage, and you walk up onto the stage. Maybe it's a wooden stage, and you can feel the heat, and you can see the bright lights in front of you, and you're already triggered. You're already anchored. There are already stories running in your head. I don't know what those stories are, but you can imagine, you know, the sense of adrenaline starts to go up. Maybe it's a sense of fun that comes out, a sense of playfulness, a sense of silliness. Maybe it's a sense of dread, a sense of, my God, I've got to make sure that my speech is correct, and what if people consider me in a way that I'm not choosing, whatever it may be, okay? But I'm reasonably sure that having gone through that little ceremony of getting up on stage, there's already an anchor which is drawing forth a set of emotional responses. So what I'm saying is, you can choose that emotional response. In NLP, what people do is they attach a certain anchor to a certain physiology, because our body is extremely good at attaching an emotion to a physiological stance or action. So you might just do something as simple as this, okay? It can be the moment when someone taps you on the shoulder, if you've had a triggering experience in the past where someone tapped you on the shoulder. All these things, these physiological responses, can be very powerful. So as a simple example, before you're on stage, okay, you choose the state that you would like to be in. I want to imagine that the audience are eager to hear from me, that they're in a great mood, that everybody is interested, intrigued, open-minded, curious, happy, laid back, engaged, and they're hearing my words with rapture, you know, and all that kind of stuff, right? You can build up that emotional state just in your imagination, in the comfort of your room. You build it up, you build it up, you build it up. You magnify it as much as you possibly can, just with the power of your visualization, your emotions, bringing all of that passion to it, and then you conjure a trigger, okay? And imagine that you just conjure that trigger for 2 minutes whilst holding that state. Might sound like mojo, but I promise you, try it. And then the next day, rinse and repeat. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Do it 30 times, okay? 30 days, 30 times. I promise you on the 31st day, you don't need to do anything at all but that. Hold it for 2 minutes if you need to, and whoosh, the emotion comes back. You can do that with any emotion that you need. Imagine you need to find yourself in a very calm, composed state, whilst all around you is in chaos. And you know that there are circumstances going to come up where you're going to need to be in that state. Remember the time when you were in that state. Okay? Remember what you were doing, what the environment was, who the people were that were around you, how you were standing, how you were breathing, the muscles on your face, the tautness of the muscles in your body. Remember it all and strike that pose and visualize or imagine or get a sense of exactly what was going in that memory. Build that up as strongly as you can and attach and anchor to it. Make a movement with it. You know, this is my peace movement, for example. Do something that you can do, you know, you just put 2 fingers together, you can even hold them in your pocket so that nobody even knows that you're doing it. Or maybe you put a little necklace around your neck and you can feel the pendant on your chest, whatever. And you do that and you attach the two as significant and you habitualize that by repeating it over and over again. It's done. Here's another one which is kind of amusing, which I like very much. So imagine you're back on stage and you've got information to impart to people, but they kind of know that they're being talked at. So, you know, maybe they're paying some attention, but maybe they're not paying the best attention. Okay. You've done your visualization. You've done my audience loves what I have to talk about. They are fascinated by it, all that kind of stuff. So you're communicating with them to the best of your ability, but you can't control what they're going to do, okay? But, so just as we are a pattern matching organism, our brain likes rules of thumb. It makes life easier. So is everybody in the audience. So how can you use that for your advantage? Here's a really simple example. There are 1,000 examples, but as a simple one, use the stage. Anchor the stage. There's a really, really easy way when you're standing in front of the podium. Let's say you're in front of the microphone stand. You are imparting factual information. Maybe that's the part that people are paying least attention to because they know that that's the part of them that is being sold to, sort of thing. But then you go over to a different part of the stage and you talk with a quieter voice and you kind of give them information, you know, maybe that really is a little bit off the cuff or that you hadn't thought about, or maybe you shouldn't be telling them, but it seems to be important. A bit like a good friend would tell them. And then you go back to the middle of the stage where the microphone is on the stand, the podium, and you give them some more information. And then you kind of wander around the stage a bit, and then you go back over to that same point. And again, you lower your voice and you start to give them like a little juice, a little piece of magic, the truth, the real essence of what it is that you're talking to. And then you go back to the middle of the stage and you carry on with your speech and so on. Very rapidly, people are going to pay attention every time that you go to the corner of the stage and you lower your voice and you speak in a slightly different manner. They don't realize it because we are all pattern recognizing organisms. But the back of their brain's already done it. This is what advertisers do all the time, okay? Advertisers, what they might do, if they're really, really clever, is that they give you a message in your face. So you notice the message in your face and you go, ugh, that's not me, and you write it off. But behind the message in your face is a far, far more subtle message that goes straight over your conscious brain. You just don't realize it at all. But the rest of you That is where the power of advertising is, because these associations go inside of us when we're least expecting it. So that I don't know if that's useful. There's just one example of how anchors can be engaged to basically take advantage of a part of your existence that's already there anyway, and to use it in a way which is for your greater good. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope that's of interest. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If it resonates with you, then follow my podcast. I would also personally be really grateful if you might wish to leave a quick rating. It genuinely helps others to discover the podcast. If you personally would like more guided meditations, you want some deeper insights, you'll find all my links in the description. If you prefer a more visual boost, then you might want to check out my YouTube channel called Authentic Life Hypnosis. And if you're looking to do some deeper work that goes beyond one-way audio, then obviously you're very welcome to reach out. Equally, if you have any questions, I'm here to help. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.